Hi, this is Susie with Creative Cafe, and this is going to be the tutorial series on how I made this Halloween mini. This will be part one, and we are going to start with just the first page. I always do my covers last when I make a mini, and so we're going to start with this, just this page one. Now what I used is the 9x6 catalog envelope on the first page, and then what I did was I simply took my 9x6 sheet of pattern paper that I was going to use, and I papered it. And you have to paper front and back, or I do. I guess you don't have to, but I do. Then before I put anything on my sheet, I get my bind it all, and on this binding, this is just exactly how I done it. I took what was going to be my front page, and all I did was simply line it with the end of my piece here, and I punched it, took it to this side on this end, just lined it up and punched it. That way each page that I done was going to be identical. I didn't have to measure it or anything. I just know that both were going to be the same when I done it that way. So on the catalog envelopes, it doesn't matter if you use white or if you use the orange. You're never going to see it. It's pretty well all covered anyway. So once you've gotten your front and your back papered, and this is going to be my front, then you want to take, and I used a policy envelope, but now you don't have to on this. You can just use a piece of cardstock, and if you do, cut it at 8 3/4 by 3 3/4. And then my pattern paper is an 8 3/4 by 3 3/4. So, and that's what I papered it with. Then I took, and I wanted this in two pieces because I'm going to have the two pockets. So what I did was I used my scoring tape, and you'll want to use sticky strip, and I just made two pockets. I tried to get it close to half, but if you're a little off, it's really not gonna make that big of a difference. So then I've just simply got that done in half here. I'm going to remove my sticky strip. And then what I did was I simply just put that where I wanted it, and I'm gonna just kind of set it in a little bit like that. Okay, and then I have my two pockets here. Then what I did was I took and I made me a little pocket here for my tags to slip in. And so what I did was I used 1/2 inch sticky strip on this, but you could use the 1/4 inch just like on the pockets. I just wanted to add a little extra there. And so what I did was I simply took this, and then I just, get this in the thing for you, I just centered it there where I kind of just looked like it was in the center, just like that. And then I have my little flap where my tags sit in. So for my tags, on one of them, I just simply used these Ranger tags, these Ink Essentials from Ranger. I got them at Michael's, and the size of these are 6 1/4 by 3 1/4 tags. So if you are just going to make you one, you don't have a package of tags, just cut you one 6 1/4 by 3 1/4. And then, you know, if you want to add the little slices here to make it come like this, and then punch your hole. But anyway, that's what I used on one of the tags, and I decorated mine with some of the stamps This here I just cut out of my curtain call paper, because that's what I did use. I guess I should have told you. Graphic 45's curtain call paper here. And then I simply cut another one out of the paper and used it for a journaling tag. And that is one of them that will just set in here. And then my larger tag here is a 3.5 by 6 inch tag. And I've already papered my backside, and I did round my corners on this here. I just made this tag out of cardstock. And I used the larger round punch, but the other corner punch is just as good. And I already rounded my corners. And then I'm going to add my front piece. And I tried to have a lot of this done just for time's sake here. So the video wasn't so long and drawn out. But I simply just set that in where it just kind of, I try to get it pretty centered of the tag so that it all kind of looks alike there. And I really like the curtain call paper. I think I've made a couple, maybe 2 or 3 minis already out of it, but I really like the curtain call paper. So, and then I use just a tab punch. This is a McGill tab punch that I got, I believe, at Michael's is where I got this tab punch. But you can use any tab punch, or you can use, you know, a round punch and cut it in half. Just anything to give yourself a tab there. And then I want to decorate the front with the little Paris. And I did ink around my edges. I did ink around the edges with some black when I cut this out of the paper. And I'm simply just going to place it kind of what looks like it's a little centered there. And then there is my tag, my larger tag, and of course a photo for the back. And it actually sets, it will just set in here with this tag. Then for my 2 tags that are going to fit in my pockets, these tags are a 4 by, let me see here, yeah, 4 by 3.5 tag. And one will be just a little bit smaller than the other. So I have a 4 and a 3.5 tag, and the mat on that tag is going to be 3 3/4 by 3 1/4, so that it's just a little smaller. And what I did was I actually did it on both sides. And then my next tag, my larger tag, is the 4 by 3 1/4, and then the mat is 3 3/4 by 3 1/2. And I papered both sides on it. Then I put these little guys sideways because when the tags go in here, I think it's my larger tag, I wanted them to be going upright with the page. So you can kind of see that's why I did them like I did them. You know, I know they look backwards when you're looking at them, but that was the whole reason right there. And then I did make them where they would stick out. I didn't shove them all the way back to the very back because I wanted them to stick out. This one could actually went all the way in, but that's not what I wanted them to do. So anyway, that's pretty much my front page then. And then of course my 2 tags that just slipped in here. That's pretty much the front page. Then for the back side of the page, I'm going to pull them out of there so that they'll lay flat. For the back side of my page, I used one of the black policy envelopes here. Now, if you can't get a black policy envelope, I did make a tutorial on an alternative to a policy envelope. So you can use this if you can't find a policy envelope. Just go to the to my channel or punch in, there for a tutorial for an alternate policy envelope, and it will come up, and then you'll know how to make one of those. But anyway, this here I did paper, and of course I paper the inside so that it all looks the same there. You really can't see the black envelope, which the black envelopes are white on the inside. And then I added a little stamp, one of the little postage stamps here, and of course decorated the front. This is a piece that I actually just did on the computer. I took a piece of craft cardstock and I drew my lines out on the computer, just let them be like a continuous line that just kept going, and I made my paper for a 2-column page, and that's how I made this just piece right here. And then that way it's front and back for journaling. And this particular tag, and I will get my measurements here for you. This particular tag is an 8 by 3 and right at 3/4. So an 8 by 3 and 3/4. And this tag just simply goes inside your decorated policy envelope for your place for journaling. And then I took a piece of my pattern paper here, and I cut this out of the paper, and it is a 4 by 5.5. My black cardstock is, as you can see, I got black cardstock there. And then the mat, the pattern part of it, is a 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. Then all I did was put me some sticky strip here on each side. And then, of course, here's my hole, so that gave me a little gauge of where not to stick it there. I can just kind of butt it up against there. And I'm just going to kind of try to get it a little bit centered the page there. I don't want it going too much one side or the other there. So anyway, that kind of looks straight to me, and then just press it down, and then my little envelope just sits in there, and of course with the journaling tag. And when I made the policy envelope, I made sure that the alternative one would fit too, so it will fit in there just like the policy envelope will. So there it is. So anyway, that is my first page of my mini right there. And just remember that when you do get ready to start this page, that you do paper your front and your back first. That way you get your holes punched before you start embellishing, because it's kind of hard to do it once you start getting your envelopes and things on. And plus it gives you a gauge of where not to go with your little things you're sticking on. So anyway, there is the first page, and then the second page. Okay, that's part 1. In 2 days I will upload part 2. Thanks so much for watching.